And we're live. Hang on a second. Xanthi? Hang on a second, folks. There. Let me just check here. Just an unexpected uh, connection disrupted. Let me just see. Well, like they say, anything can happen. Anything can happen when we go live. Um, so should be back in a moment. But so this is the show Pop Goes a Stream, and it is a show that we say is inclusive, where we encourage folks to ask questions, where we cover everything, all things related to the pop culture. And oh, phew, I lost you there for a second, Xanthi. You were like, I'm like, oh, we are good, and oh, so I was just to start off the show, just saying that it's an all inclusive program where we encourage the audience to ask questions about all things related to the pop culture, and the topic today that we alluded to in the thumbnail is the program, the graphic novel, um, the Watchman. Well, but before we go, I'm glad you brought your book out, because I left mine in the closet and I can't get to it just because I can't reach it. So that's that. All right, I will certainly do that. So I'm Robert Lee. In prior shows, I always say, like, I'm the owner and executive video producer of Shalala Productions. We create marketing video and provide live streaming services, as well as especially pop culture. And just really excited to be able to shake things up. The Instead of talking about like video marketing, video production, just to be able to talk about things I love to geek out. And I'm glad to be able to be with a fellow colleague that shares the enthusiasm and passion with. Yes, about you. Exactly. Exactly. We're just be able excited just to talk about all forms of media of the Watchmen, just because it started off as a graphic novel, and it's neat to be able to see it the transition from in a written form to like a to visual form, to both the movies and in TV. Um so I think that any questions that folks have about in any form, we'll love to talk about, just because I think that it's just one of those rare um content source where there's always a challenge wherever you try to create something that's true to the source, but also something unique for the viewers, and to see that consistency through is pretty cool. Now I'm kind of going a little bit out of order, where initially we were going to talk about the content itself, just for those that aren't familiar about the Watchmen, so that as Anthony and I will provide a description about it, and then go into like our thoughts about the source as well as take questions. Um, Right. It's unique from the DC and the Marvel universe, both in the print form and in the movies. So the the source material, at least from the graphic novel, it deals. Some of the characters are different from what you saw on the TV and the movie. Uh, so that's one thing you notice. But from the book itself, it's there's like a lot of meanings behind the program. I'm sorry, the behind the book, and so the plot is I shouldn't say simple, but just at least straightforward on the surface. But it's like once you start diving deep into the well, I mean, if it's what's kind of funny is that some of the sources I looked at in preparing for it, like whether it's on Wikipedia or even some of the other YouTube channels, um, they at least provide at least a plot description, at least to try to give it like a baseline about the comic, but then when you like unravel the layers of like different way the story goes through, it's it's a whole different animal, and just that it's it's you can definitely go in terms of different ways as to where you can go. Um, I th- I want to say like in 85, like definitely in the mid 80s, that I remember, and because okay, so the basic plot or the simplified plot of the book is the character Rorschach. God, I have, I have enough problems trying to. um, it he investigates a murder of a fellow a superhero called the Comedian, and yes, go ahead, go ahead. Correct. Although, it's funny that whether if you view in different descriptions, they classify them as superhero. But to your point, I do agree with you. It's just a simplified way that describe who they are. Because if I say like, well, he's investigating a fellow vigilante, like, well, wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, on the surface, they're viewed as superheroes, but then when you start peeling back the layers as to who they are and everything, um, oh, I think don't mean to interrupt. I think on okay. I know that at least on the Shalala channel, there should be audio come out from there. So if you're still having trouble on Xanthi's channel, you can go over the Shalala to be able to hear from it. Um, Let me just check. Okay. Uh, Xanthi says hi. It could be like when maybe it's like when you switched over from the microphone to the headphone mic. Maybe there might be something that the browser's not picking up. Okay. So while Xanthi's making the adjustments on the audio, so and to Xanthi's point, she is correct that as although they might be considered superheroes, they're more vigilante in that, with the exception of Doctor Manhattan, or like the big blue guy, most of the heroes or the or vigilantes, they're humans, and so but in the graphic novel, I think on the surface, at least the people that don't know the characters well, they view them as heroes, but then later on, they later learn their, I guess, to their true nature of how they handle things. But to the story, the basic story goes that it starts off as the Rorschach investigates on his own the murder of the comedian, And in the process, as he's investigating the murder, he uncovers a lot of interesting things going on behind the scenes that leads to the culmination as you later learn that there's a bigger plot with another hero, Ozymandias, or the character or his identity, Adrian Veidt, had a bigger plot of trying to end a nuclear war by staging a phony alien attack to so that the countries like the U.S. Yeah, the fall squids um, have the U.S. and USSR instead of like go at it where they're leading to the brink of nuclear war to be able to work together at this common threat. So it's so as uh, as a story follows um, Rorschach investigating this the murder. A lot of things happen the way he reconnects with other spoiler exactly with other heroes in the book Night Owl, the Silk Spectre, and let's see, Dr. Manhattan. And so it's but the way it's interesting told is like it's not the idea like hey he rings up and talks to another fellow superhero to team up to find out what's going on. It's more like as if like a friend would call another friend and they're just kind of reconnect because they haven't seen each other in a while as it goes. And there's a lot of other things. No audio on. Okay, they're saying I can hear you. I'm not sure why over on your channel that they can't hear you. The only thing I can think of is for yeah, let me just I know I have you on here. Can you hear her now? For some reason they say that let me just I am recording it on to the Xanthi's point. I am recording it on another device so that if we're not able to get this resolved on live, we'll be able to upload the video later with because I yeah because I definitely can hear her. I'm just not sure why no still can't hear. Okay. Um. Oh man, this is crazy. Let's see. Sorry, I don't mean to go quiet, folks. Um. Hmm. Because I know, yeah, this I do have a backup way where we might be able to at least do a short term fix. Um, let me see if I can find the connection here. Do you still have the link I gave you of Restream? Okay, that should also be a link that allows you to go into Restream. So I might be able to pull you in through um be able to right. Okay, click on that. Yeah. So if we can so that way I can pull in another video source. It might be a little bit trippy here. Uh there we go. All right. So let me just try this. This might look different, folks. So hang on here.
Here's a make. Do you hear me? Oh,
So hang on a second. Let me. I know. So let me. I'm gonna correct that right now. All right.
no. Wait.
Wait, this way. Okay, so let me just fix that here. All right.
I keep speaking so that I can hear a positive, like someone tells me, I can hear you now.
Okay. If can anyone
Wow,
hear?
yeah, yes, George, yes, finally. Ah, 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 ah.
All right. So
Matt says, Matt is clearly blaming you.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's nothing new. I don't know why that happened. All right. So let me do this, folks. Hang on a second here. It's gonna look a little bit trippy, so bear with me.
Yes, victory. We figured it out. Thank you, George and Grimskull and chat people, to let us know that we had an audio issue. Otherwise, we wouldn't have figured it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I might lose you on the restream, but we'll still hear you. I'm sorry. I might lose you within here, but where you
I
are,
will be
you
on
should be able to.
restream. It's
Yeah.
fine.
All right. So it's gonna look a little bit different, guys. So apologize for that. All right.
It's okay. Why am I on my webcam? Wait. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. We'll be able to figure it out. As
Okay, we can see
okay.
the comments also. Awesome.
Okay.
Um, yeah, now I have my camera. Um, the reason why I wanted the Sony, let me say some vanity now here, why I'm so vain, it's because it has the filter and I am so tired and I haven't, you know, the camera it has like a smooth filtering, like a Snapchat filter. So that's why I would prefer the Sony than the webcam so that it hides, you know.
Yeah.
Let's let that drop. Okay, I just said it. We can continue the Watchmen now.
No, no worries. So I think people already heard about what I said
Mhm.
about the Watchmen. So why don't we switch it over to you and get your thoughts about the movie and the TV show?
Yes, the reason why I got so excited now again with the Watchmen is because I watched the TV show. Okay, I have watched the film. I haven't read the comic at the time that I saw the film, and I haven't read the comic at the time that I saw the TV series, which was now on HBO. Uh, but I got the book as well in English, of course, original, not translated. And so I watched the TV show, and I was mind blown. And I made a vlog about it as well. The main reason I was so mind blown was also the music. It inspired me so much because it's Nine Inch Nails that made the soundtrack. But and I was like, okay, I'm gonna see the TV show just for the music and maybe it's a fun action show. But it was so amazing. Only people in showbiz like Xanthi care about filters to high turns. Exactly, George. So yes. So I was so amazed about the plot, and the TV show takes place 34 years after the events. I don't know if I heard my son, by the way. I am on parent duty as well. So I might go away for a minute or two to tend to my son. So then Robert will take the lead, and I will return, of course, mom duty. I have the door open to see if he appears. Anyway, yes. So uh, I was, as I said, mind blown. It's a very well produced show, in my opinion, and it takes place, as I said, 34 years after the original events, and it continues. I don't want to spoil it much because it's a recent show, and I don't. Maybe people would want to watch it. But we get to see new characters in the first episodes, and then we get to see Ozymandias, how if I say it correctly, from the past, and we get to see also the squids falling from the sky as well, and some other characters from the past. And I don't want to spoil it, but okay, I make a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, I have to say.
Okay.
We get to see also Dr. Manhattan in a kind of unexpected way. I was a bit like, oh, is that Dr. Manhattan? I didn't see it coming. I was kind of disappointed when we got introduced to who Dr. Manhattan is in this show, but then it rewarded me, the final episode. It was a good finale, in my opinion. Unfortunately, Robert, there's not going to be a season two, as it seems.
Right. And
Mm.
I was doing a little research about that, and I think it's just the way how the story was told. I think it was the idea of both in the book and the movie, they try to capture a bit of realism, just like in life, how there's no really certain beginning, middle, and end. And so the idea is that the way how the movie and the TV ended, it's it's not so much the idea of just leaving to the imagination of the viewers, but I think it's just for the fact that um, they kind of like left it uncertain, just for the fact that I think it's just I know it's like a deep cut, like the old idea of reflection life, like depending like where the story goes, or it leaves the idea that things are unknown, and I think it just plays with the idea, like with Doctor Manhattan, the superhero has a I guess you could say hero, where
He is one of the superheroes. He's the only one superhero, you can say, yeah.
yeah, the fact that he's able to move forward, middle, and back in time, I think the way it ended for his character on the TV show, it's almost a reflection like in a comic book. There's always a beginning, a middle, and end of story, so that it's that concept is seen through Doctor Manhattan's eye. But in real life, even though there is a beginning, middle, and end, it's just that we don't really know until it happens. And so I think that's part of the reason that I think I understand as to why there's no season two, just because it's a reflection of that. Although, of course, like I can't help but think whenever you can throw a lot of,
It
they'll
makes
find a way to
sense.
continue a story.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense what you say about Dr. Manhattan, the way he experiences reality. He doesn't have past, present, and future. He lives everything at the same time, which that for me doesn't really resonate very well. Which, of course, it's a comic, it's a fantasy, it's a science fiction thing. But it's hard for me to see him. It makes him cynical and arrogant, but honest at the same time.
Right. And I think the character Lori, or her superhero slash vigilante code, Silk Spectre, um, the way that they portray her in the TV show, it's almost a reflection of the times we live in, where not to say that it's everything's negative and just kind of like dour and everything, but it's flipping the whole idea where the whole characterization with heroes, that they have this good persona, and they have like a they view the world in certainties and in
Mm,
black and white. And so I think it reflects as well in the graphic novel and the movie and TV, the idea that give that realistic perspective, just that humans have a complicated way of viewing things and have real life problems.
yes.
So it's interesting that they continue that theme with Sally's character, that from the beginning, where she's like with the FBI, and then as you move further down, it's almost like her reconnection with Dr. Manhattan kind of reignited her interest of just trying to not only unravel the story behind what's going on, but at the end there's some resolution as to what to deal with Ozymandias, as well as to the whole thing that how unfold with the is it the Seventh Cavalry? I keep this. Um,
Southern Cavalry, something like that. Seventh Cavalry.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's just the idea that we're with the graphic novel and in the movie, just because like the movie does a fairly close adaptation of the book, of how it just kind of not really ends in a down note, but just where the idea of the bad guys win, where they kind of flipped it a little bit on in
Mm,
the TV show, just like showing some hope, but at the same time, there's still some ambiguity of how other things would unravel.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of an interesting twister right there.
And
Uh,
I really enjoyed her character in the TV show. Uh, I don't want to spoil much, but the FBI, Sally reappears, and it was Sally her first name, but yeah,
yeah,
she. It was very cool the way she was portrayed, the character, the actress. She was amazing. Um, can you take the lead for a moment
I can do that.
and maybe keep the show going? And I'll be right back because mom duty.
No
I have
worries.
to. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, people.
All
Stay
right,
here.
we'll be
I'm
here.
coming. Yes.
Hey there. It's yeah. Um so yeah, again I apologize with the technical issues. As I say, anything can happen when you go live. But to Xanthi's point, yeah, I mean, I think we meant to say that there's going to be like a lot of spoilers alert with the in talking about the book, the TV show, and the movie, but it does play with a lot of themes there in terms of how heroes are initially perceived, like the whole idea of like being good and bad. You combine that with the idea of just adding a realism in terms of how they portray the characters, and it's it's just an interesting dynamic in terms of how the story unfolds, especially in the comic books, just because in a historical reference, that I would say like the Watchmen is like a turning point, at least in the literature sense, in terms of how heroes are portrayed, where they're portrayed as flawed human, flawed characters, and just to be able to see how that transitions to what they're do as a hero. And I think in terms like in the industry, like you'd see that's where you see like back in the mid 80s, you have like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Return, a comic that has another same gravitas of uh, of a tone, and you have pretty much like the explosion of the Image comics, where it's just really ultra violent and bit of a dark humor, bit of a dour tone of the comics that you see that's coming out in the 80s. And so but as in later years and later decades progress, it's interesting just to see that they're trying to turn it around. Oh, I think we got her back. Let me see if I can get her there.
Yes,
There we
I'm
go.
back.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was just giving a slight historical perspective, just the idea that when the Watchmen came out, it just set a tone of just how stories are told in the superhero genre with comics, where it just has a lot of more darker, a lot heavier, dour tone. It's not until like in recent years where they're trying to at least bring some sort of maybe a little bit of light, just that there's not
Lightweight. Yeah.
like a little bit more hope, but at the same time, the comics then were like a reflection of what it was in the 80s, where there was still in the backdrop where the US and USSR, were engaging uh,
Yeah.
a
Cold War.
possible
Yeah.
Cold War type thing. So it's
And maybe, if I may say, back
mhm,
then in the 80s, people were not as politically correct as they are now. So maybe they were they felt more free to write, to express their
right,
views through that comic, because it is hardcore in my opinion. It is kind of um, uh, like I was mind blown when I realized what this thing really is, and also the way it was written. Like, as I said, also we had that conversation before, Robert. I was in my
mhm,
live and we were making the comments that it is a comic that has a book inside the comic.
right. Which about the pirates?
No, it's about the is it the part? It's not the other superhero or vigilante that he has written his memoirs, and
Oh, okay,
it has some, like, so the authors, they have created not only the characters, the vigilante, but also one of the characters has made a book. So it's like Inception, before Inception, like kind of. It is very artistic, or I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden. I don't know if I'd say Easter eggs, but just like a story within a story.
Mm,
Some of the themes that are like reflective symbolically within the book as well in the comics. It's yeah, I mean, it's not something that you can like read a comic and instantly pick up these themes stuff. It's almost like something it's a content movie or a book that you go back to again and discover like different things that you didn't pick up on the first time. So
yes.
um yeah, I mean
And yeah. No, I just wanted to say also that one must know a lot about history, the time history, to be able to grasp the Watchmen, because like you have to know a lot about the Cold War, the politics, the American politics at the time, which I admit I don't know it very well. I have an idea, of course, but I guess people like in the 80s that you were living it, and if you were reading the book at the time, you could probably absorb it or like consume it in a way different manner than I am doing it now after so many years had, which I don't really know exactly the reality as it was back then. So if you are good with history, you will enjoy it. I
yeah,
guess American politics at the time. Yeah.
and just in terms of how the story is told, in terms of just turning the idea on its head as to like how the protagonist is viewed, where I guess in comics or graphic novels, it's just it's with a certainty is like who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. So the idea of it just being kind of murky, I think.
Yeah, it's not. You think that Rorschach is a good guy, but is he really the good guy, or he's just like a manipulating character? Kind of. I don't know. I haven't finished it yet. I'm here because it's kind of a heavy read. You know, you think it's a comic, but it's not just a comic that you can just, browse and just read it. It is heavy. It is, you need to digest, at least me. Maybe my brain capacity is not that big. I don't know, but I need some time to process what I'm actually reading to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, just because of how the material can be interpreted, someone that read it, like you say, uh someone younger of age may see it differently than someone in your age or my age, just because I think it's just the idea of either life histories or just as to like how cognizant we are of the times, as well as just
Mhm.
as narrative or the medium of how the content is put out there. So um but yeah, I
The
mean
82
it's
are the best decades as math. Yes.
yeah, I mean it's funny because like I remember like when it first came out, I didn't really know too much about the Watchmen just because I was really more into the classic story told between good versus evil, they show power, blah. And so this is a little bit different. So it's not till like later years where when I re-examined it again and looked at it, saw for what it was. So someone that's I guess maybe like a youth now may look at things different than a youth back then, and may pick up on these tropes and such than it was back then. Like as for me, just because you're really more into the the pageantry of the hero, going through the idea of saving the world, saving a person, showing their powers, and this goes a little bit more deeper. Um, so yeah, so it's not something like you say you could sit down and just kind of like read and just kind of read it pretty quickly there. So
Yeah. No, it is a heavy reading, but it's a very, I do recommend it. I recommend to watch the film. Well, the best or the correct order, if we want to be correct, which I am not, is the book or the graphic novel, and then the film, and then the TV show. The TV show takes place afterwards, so it makes sense to see it last. So if you don't have the book, if you don't have the spirit, what's the film? It is good. It's actually a good, I think, what do you call it? Interpretation of the
yeah.
graphic novel. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, interesting enough, it was Zack Snyder that directed the Watchmen film, and he pretty much had the movie close to the original source as possible, with exception didn't really incorporate too much of the whole pirate story, which is another story in itself.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just interesting just to be able to know that if you read the book and then all of a sudden you see the movie, there's not that much lost in transition in terms of the story itself and how it's portrayed. But yeah, to your point, when you go see the TV show, because it jumps like 30 years ahead of time, although the characters are different and the story is a little bit different, I think in terms of the tone and the consistency of how it's presented, I mean, you could see
Mm.
the commonality there.
I want to ask people that are watching now if you have seen the film, if you have watched the TV show or the graphic, if you read the graphic novel, which one do you prefer? Like, or if there is something that you prefer, or have you read it? What do you think? And maybe, what do you say, Robert? That it's not only Watchmen that we are going to talk today, but we have some. The holidays are approaching. We have some more things to tease about or like to talk about.
Yeah, I know it was funny as we were preparing for the show. I know you mentioned about the show on that the of Hawkeye that came up, and I thought it was just kind of interesting.
Yes, yes, because I was like on Disney Plus and I was like, Hawkeye? Oh my God, Hawkeye. I want to see it. I have a question though.
Yeah,
Have you seen it? Have you watched it?
yeah.
Have you people, guys on the chat, have you seen it? Is it 2 episodes only? I saw only 2 episodes, which I haven't finished them yet.
So they
Okay.
released the third episode yesterday. So I did watch that too. So
So it is going to be like a season, like a whole season, not just like
well, I don't know if they'll have a season two, but at the very least, there's supposed to be a total of 6 episodes of the of
ah,
Hawkeye.
okay. Okay, good. That's what I wanted to know. I just want to see if it was like a mini series or like 2 3 episodes or season. Um, Me too, George. I mean, I watched the movie when it came out, and it was my first um, introduction to the whole thing. I liked what I saw, but I cannot say that I understood everything. It had a lot of symbolism also, so it is something that one needs to rewatch it again. I have seen it twice, and watching now the TV show, it unlocked a few things. I understood a few things because I'm older, more mature. I understand politics better, maybe, and reading the novel, the graphic novel, helps me a bit to go back to the Watchmen. Yeah, but we go back to Hawkeye. Yeah, uh, the reason why, well, the reason why I wanted to talk about, or we said we agreed to talk about, is and why I got into interested in watching it is I like the character of all the Marvel. I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but of course, it belongs to the nerd brand, like the nerd field, and of course, I'm part of it. So yeah, of course, Marvel. I guess I'm more of a DC fan, but okay. Uh, but Hawkeye, he's kind of also a troubled character, and I like troubled characters. And I like the actor also. I like the actor that plays him because I enjoy him as an actor, and I've seen other movies that he was in the Heart Locker, and I was like, oh my god, that guy, he is a great actor. Anyway, so and it's December, Christmas, and it started with Christmas stuff everywhere, and I was like, okay, is it the Christmas thing, like, or what? What do you say?
Yeah, that was a question that I'm curious what other people think. Is that do you consider Hawkeye a Christmas program or even like a Christmas movie? Um, I go back and forth with it because I know like Marvel say that they alluded to that it is, but or the idea that it's a superhero movie that takes place during the Christmas holiday.
Coincidentally, yeah. Mm.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I might lean towards a no, but at the same time, we're only three episodes in. You know, the next three that could be go more into the heavy into the Christmas holiday, but I don't know.
I never thought of it. I haven't felt that so far that it's a Christmas movie, but it is Christmas. It takes place in Christmas, and they are. It's Hawkeye. It's not a big spoiler because it's just the first 5 minutes.
Hmm.
It's Hawkeye and his kids, and they're watching a Broadway show, which is
Right.
like the Avengers. And I was like, oh my god, how more? I mean, I would suffer if I was him as well. It did they make it on purpose to be a parody? The Broadway show? I felt it was a parody, like a comedy kind of.
Well, what's interesting is the behind the scenes with when they did the play, they treat it as an actual play. So although it's a
Mm.
parody where the play is about pretty much like a recap of the Avengers movie, that they
In
had
a
an actual.
comedic way, yeah, comedy way, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
but what's funny is that even some of the actors say they hope that it's like a real thing where they have the actual play for some of the public view, just because it was that good as the people that were in it. So um I guess I mean I could see how, like, with the inclusion of the play within a movie, how it gives the that that credence that it's a Christmas movie, but I don't know.
George says, unless Rudolph shows up, it ain't a Christmas movie. Yeah,
Yeah, that and Jack Frost and some of the others that I'm blanking out, like Frosty the Snowman.
yeah. But because we talked about it briefly,
Hmm.
my sister, it is related and not related. My sister thinks Die Hard is a Christmas movie. She considers it a Christmas movie. So, and I agree. I can agree to that.
Well, I haven't seen it in a while, so I probably should reserve comment until I watch it again. But I mean, I don't know. It's just the idea. I see that it's an action movie that happens in the Christmas holiday. I mean, I don't see like Santa coming out with these bazookas going after the bad guys.
Well, it is Bruce Willis,
So you say it's
and
Bruce Willis Santa's Claus?
no, it's Bruce Willis. He, well, eh, I think I remember some scenes from. I mean, I have seen them. I was younger when I saw Die Hard, and it had some funny action movie. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yes, says
Uh,
Matt. So I do buy. I buy this concept. I can buy it that it is a Christmas movie. Yeah. I didn't consider it back then, but I can definitely accept it. Hawkeye, on the other hand, yeah, it's just action that takes place in Christmas. Die Hard, yes.
okay, so 2 votes for yes on Die Hard. I don't know. I I'll watch it again, but I don't know. It's hard for me to see it. I mean, I understand why people think it's a Christmas movie, but I mean, unless like you see like Bruce Willis putting like a red nose and just kind of like pulling the sleigh there. It's
Okay.
but
How
I
about
mean,
before? Yes,
no,
sorry.
okay. No, I was just gonna say like
No.
I could see like how some folks think that Hawkeye is a Christmas movie for the fact that there's like oh wait, you haven't seen episode 3 yet, so I can't use that example. Shoot. But if we use the first two episodes, where the fact that they're having like Chinese food and they're talking about what they're gonna do when they as a family there, I
Yeah,
could
it creates. Yeah. Mm.
and the whole idea of how like Hawkeye or the Clint Barton is trying to get back home so he could celebrate Christmas. I could see that, but I think because also the other story is just you're dealing with Kate Bishop, who's kind of being mentored by Clint to
Mm.
actually the bigger picture of her being like the next Hawkeye. It seems that casts a heavy shadow where I could see the argument made that it's not a Christmas movie. So if you were to break it down into like mathematics, like the amount of scenes that focus more on Clint training Kate versus
Yeah, I
Clint
agree.
trying to get
Yeah.
back home,
Mm.
that could probably tip it. But then
Yeah.
again, as I always joke, still reserve the right to be wrong. So
Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap things up, the Christmas we're building tries to kill me. Yeah, that is, yeah. Before we wrap things up,
mhm.
I want to hear from, of course, from you, Robert, as well, but even from people from the chat, any Christmas movies that you would highly recommend to watch. And not Frozen, please. Not those kind. Any recommendations for Christmas movies that are cool?
What kind of? I mean, in a Christmas movie, like, what are you looking for in a Christmas movie? Is the question I have for you?
I guess Die Hard is a good actually candidate. Well, okay, because I have a son, a little boy, we're probably going to watch Home Alone, because he can be introduced to the Home Alone merchant, not franchise. um,
Well, have you seen Elf? That's the one
okay.
with Buddy the Elf with Will Ferrell playing Buddy the Elf, oversized.
Oh, have I seen it? I don't think so. No.
See,
How?
you
How have I haven't seen the Wilfer? Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Thank
see
you.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt
Also, Elf.
recommends
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
See
Okay.
Elf.
Okay.
If you want to go with the classic, you can't go wrong with the Christmas Story there.
But not for Neil. Not for my son. For
Oh yeah,
when he's asleep. For him also, is it like for it's Will Ferrell?
yeah, for both of them, Elf and Christmas Story.
Is it appropriate for kids, small kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Christmas Story, it may be a little dated, so some of the jokes might go over his head, but I think he would enjoy
Okay,
that.
I will give it a try. Okay, okay,
Definitely with Elf too, so
okay.
because they have
And
it,
as
they
long as
have
it's
the
a
kids
little,
in mind.
okay.
So
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Because it's Will Ferrell, so I'm thinking.
oh yeah, and Zoe Deschanel was also in Elf too.
Okay, she's cute. I like her. She's
So there you
funny.
go.
Thank you, Matt and Robert. Okay,
If you can just indulge me 1 second, I just want to see like
of course.
if people can hear you in the old setup. I'll
Okay, a boy
don't worry,
called
guys.
Christmas. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Hang on, where's my button?
I'm gonna keep talking to see if I disappear, if I suddenly drop on Netflix. A Boy Called Christmas. Okay, I will take a look at it. Um,
Can
am I?
folks hear?
Can you still hear me? Well,
Uh,
I'm double now, so I'm probably.
all right, let me try that. Uh, can you can you still hear Xanthi, folks? I can.
Yes, yes. Says George. Okay, good.
Okay, so let me see if. All right, let me just try this now. Can you still hear Xanthi, folks? No, she died. All right, hang on.
That was a bit morbid.
All right, let me.
Put it back so I can answer him.
Yeah. All right.
Now I'm back. Okay, that was a bit morbid, George. Hi, everyone. Now, now she's fine. Okay, good. Okay, good, great.
All right. So
Mm,
I've got another month to figure it out. So
okay, good. Yes, since you mentioned it, guys, this was the first eventful episode of a monthly podcast. So the next live stream will be in a month, beginning
yeah,
of January at some point. We don't know exactly when, but stay tuned on social media. We will let you know.
yeah, we'll get that squared away, but definitely in a month as to what day and time. We'll work that out and we'll let folks know in
Mm.
advance. But
And of course, we're open to suggestions about pop culture. You want something as a subject, a TV series, a show, a comic, a film that you would like us to discuss with you, of course. Let us know in the comments,
yeah, because like we say, it can be anything within the pop culture, whether it's movie, TV, graphic
Music.
novel, comic, music. Well, I'll probably lean heavy on Xanthi on music for sure. So
Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, the Watchman soundtrack. I have it on my Spotify and I hear it actually. It is a great soundtrack, but it's very powerful. Yes. Yeah. I'm done
okay.
talking about it. Yeah. It was a coding reference, PHP. Okay. Thank you, George, the coder.
All right, so let me just check on the other channel there.
You're a
Not
bit
being.
blurry. Are you feeling okay, Robert?
Uh, yeah, maybe it's just because I'm moving around too fast. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go. I was
Okay.
gonna like try something else here, and just because like I had, in case this camera would have gone out, I had to like have a backup one. So I think that's the one thing I can't help is just have like redundancies in place if something should go wrong. But if you can just indulge me a second here.
In the meantime, I guess I cannot control here the buttons, but you can follow us. You can find me on Syrakou or Xanthi S on my YouTube channel. You have the card somewhere, so whenever you
Yep. So like in the description
oh, we
of
have it
my
in the description. Yes, okay, okay, yeah.
in the YouTube channel, they should be able to see that they can reach you on your YouTube channel at the Xanthi
Yes,
S, Twitter Syrakou.
yeah. It's my last name. It's I don't yeah, yeah. It's hard. It's a hard Greek last name. Sorry.
That's all right. And same thing with
Hi,
Facebook.
Kirsty.
Same.
Hi.
And so
We are
so you can
wrapping things up. Yes. Hmm?
and you can check the replay for it. Um, and we'll get this sorted out. But yeah, so like Xanthi said, like if there's a particular movie, TV show, comic, graphic novel, music that you guys want to talk about, just drop a comment in the uh, in the chat or in our respective channels or social media, and we'll be able to try
Facebook,
to.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you feel better, let us know. Mine, my channel, or Robert. We are
One way or
waiting
another,
for
we'll look out for it, and we'll be good to go. Um,
exactly. Let me just say hi, Thirsting. It's okay. I just got home. Nemi, Cutie is Thirsting that we were streaming yesterday on
eh,
Twitch and YouTube.
no worries. I had some other
Mm.
colleagues that mentioned that it'll be up online so that people can watch the replay too. So it's just that you won't have the back and forth banter like we're doing right now as we're live. Which, depending on how you view it, it could be a good or bad thing. But that's another story.
Well, I am experiencing fine, but yeah,
Oh, sorry, I
yes,
just had a connection issue. All right, I'm back.
okay.
Um,
We
okay.
have solved the technologies. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, listening to us geeking out about
Yeah.
Watchmen and stuff. Hmm?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's it. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
I just wanted to thank you, people. Yes,
And since we'll be back on next month, I should just say happy holidays, happy New Year. Hope everyone's staying safe
exactly.
and staying well. And just
Yes,
thank you for spending time with us. And oh,
June. Yes, and June. We talked about with Thing. We will definitely talk about June, and we can do June also. Yes, I will be talking about the same things in various different channels. That's okay. I'm fine. It's cool. Yes, because Dune, oh my god, Dune, it was amazing. I will say that.
the you mean you like the replay
Yes, yeah,
the newer
yes,
version too, as well as the
yes.
old? I have some homework to
I
do.
haven't seen the old,
I haven't seen either, so
so yeah.
all right.
But we will keep it for the next or one of the next shows. In any case, we will talk about. We will definitely have it on the list. Thank you, Matt.
Exactly.
Mm.
All right. On that note, we will sign off. We'll see you next year. And
Happy
till
New
then,
Year. Happy holidays. Stay safe, as you said.
what she said too. So,
Yes, and no here.
oh, there. You know, and Matt can attest to this. I still have trouble with knowing my left and
Okay.
right
Yeah, me
from
too.
the
It
camera.
doesn't matter. Okay.
So, all
Yes.
right. Well, take care, everyone,
Bye,
and we will
everyone.
catch you
Thank
guys
you.
later. All
Bye.
right. Oh, hang on. I
Yeah.
gotta bring
Go
on me to
offline.
be able. Yeah. So we'll be back.